everyone. Welcome to the today's session. In this session, we are going to know and learn more about DevOps, what DevOps exactly is, and how we can start our DevOps journey. Okay, today we are going to start with understanding how, what all are the main components of DevOps, what exactly DevOps is, what all are the myths which you need to know before starting DevOps. Today we understand what is CI/CD pipeline, how to start and build your own CI/CD pipeline when you are a beginner. Okay, so without any further ado, let's start and let me present my screen. Okay, okay. So before starting, if you talk about DevOps, what DevOps is, so you will find different definition at different places. On Wikipedia, you can find that DevOps is a practice, which means it's a practice on Microsoft Learn. You will find that DevOps is a combination of Dev and Ops teams which are working together to build in software. If you know different in on different website you will find, and some website you will find DevOps is something uh, uh, collaboration method or a culture. In some websites you will find DevOps as something which is majorly used for automation. Some places you will find that it's DevOps is only for small scale development and all. So what exactly DevOps is? DevOps is something, a culture, which or a methodology which you can apply in your organization while working in an SDLC, software development lifecycle. Now talking more about DevOps, how DevOps is started, what all needed when we start DevOps. Okay, why we need to start DevOps when there are practices like Agile, Lean already exist. Let's talk about that. Okay, before talking about why we started DevOps, let's talk about today's trend, why we need to talk about DevOps, why everyone around industry or why every second industry is using DevOps, why FANG is using DevOps, why all the early startups, of all the unicorns are using DevOps. Why? Okay, talking about the report which is generated by the Atlassian in 2023, this year only, the impact which is done by the DevOps was very huge. DevOps help us to scale them in a better manner. DevOps help them to build their software efficiently and easily. DevOps help them uh, to scale their software in a very rigorous manner. Not only that, but a developer or a person who's a DevOps engineer, they are earning a very good amount of package. The average salary which you can see over a Glassdoor or a website like Glassdoor, it's 85K dollar, and the average senior salary of a DevOps engineer average is about 100K dollar. So it's a quite good salary which is offered by the industry. If we talk about the trends, how DevOps is growing day by day, then it is something very huge. Okay, just give me a second. Mm, okay, if we talk about the trend, these trends are day by day increasing, which you can see over the slide. And this is something which is vast. Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay, so let's talk a bit more about DevOps. What DevOps is? DevOps is a combination. DevOps is a practice where development team and operation teams comes together to build a software easily, efficiently, and more dynamic software they build. How they build, how they start. See, every software started with a stage known as planning. If you can see my screen, you can see here there is a stage which is known as planning. Okay, every software started with planning. When we talk about planning, what we do generally in planning is we start taking the requirement from the client, that what all requirement client have, what all sort of things he or she wants in the software, uh, what is the architecture of that software, how we are going to build that software, are we are using the monolithic or the microservice architecture, what sort of database we are using in that software, um, what sort of languages we are going to prefer to build that software, sort of framework we are going to use. All these things are planned and then planning stage. Not only that, but like if you're making a website, like if you're making a website, and for that website you need 6 months to complete that website. You need 6 months to complete that website. So we divide that website in several sprints. So sprints are nothing but we develop small feature in these sprints, and these sprints have a limited amount of time. Like we decided to develop three features in a single sprints. Okay, so and that sprint consider of 10 days. So what development team will do, development team will code that sprint in 10 days, simultaneously build, test, put that into the release, which is managed by the operational team, deploy that development which they have done, and operate and monitor that thing. So let's start understanding how. See, we talk about plan, what we do in the plan stage, which is handled by the development team. Now talk about code. When we talk about coding part, so generally we do code what we have planned. We connect with databases. We start building the functionalities and all. Then talk about build. See, if you ever download any software, or if you ever use any software, that software is in the executable format. That, like, when we talk about Windows, we generally get a .exe file, which is a executable file. See, we generally don't get a code while using the software. We'll get the auto executable file. That is something a build we get. Okay, then we talk about a test. Development team runs a test which is known as unit test, which is a first level of test where they test the software functionality, that it is working right or wrong, everything is working fine. This test the several test cases, and yeah, that is something done by development team. Then this, after the test, that software or that feature put into the release, which is managed again by the operational team. Operational team, what they do, they do several more type of testing, like penetration testing, black box testing, load testing, and all. After doing several testing, they'll put that software into a deployment. Deployment is nothing but putting the software into the production or over the cloud, which can be seen by the audience, user, client, etc., etc. Okay, then that after the deployment, what happen is we now user can see that product, team can see that product, the client can see that product. After that, we operate or take the feedback from them that everything is working fine. If everything is working fine, then it is good. We monitor that product again, start building the second feature, which is in the planning state. If not, what we do, like in first sprint we have maken page, login page, we have making login page, and when we are operating that part, when we are monitoring that part, we encounter a bug in UI UX. So what we do, we again go to the planning stage, again plan the UI part, again code that part, build that part, test that part, release that part, deploy that part, again take the feedback from the client that now is it working fine, if is it that feature is working fine, again start with the new sprint on a new feature. That is something DevOps gives us. So why there is a need of DevOps? Before DevOps, what happened? So before DevOps, there is an there's a line between the development or an operation team. Development and operation team can't work together. They don't know what operation team doesn't know what development team is building. Development team doesn't know what operation team is doing. Like there is a software which is taking 6 months to complete. Development team continuously building that software without deploying or without taking a continuous update from the client. And operation, after building the software, operation team doesn't know to whom they need to connect if there is something bug or if there is some changes in the software. At the last, it is more, well, they take more time to give the feedback suggestion or to say to make changes in the software. That is why DevOps come into the place to remove this uh, wall of confusion or conflict. One more thing when we talk about DevOps is when we start working with DevOps, we generally work with ideology like agile, lean. So many of the people have some uh, you know issues to understand the process how DevOps is working. DevOps is something which is working on the top of agile development or agile workforce or agile process. The name you can choose according to you. What agile development is, again, we divide our product, our tech, our product into different sprints, which we code product into a different sprints, take time, and complete every feature in different sprints. Sorry. So that is something agile development is. We code, we build. That is something, that is the only part that agile development focus on, or the process focus on. Then, when we move into the DevOps culture, we understand the value of continuous integration. Like, if you make a website, okay, again, I'm giving you an example. If you make a website, we make a login page. Okay, now we have that login page. Now, second feature which we have developed is sign up page. Okay, so we code that sign up page, we build that sign up page. Now this is the time to integrate that sign up page and test that sign up page with that login page, so that we can understand if suppose there is a user whose name is Sarthak with an ID mrsarthak001 at gmail.com. If there is a user with this Gmail ID already exists, so what they need to do, they need to log in that user. If not exist, they need to go and create a sign up for that user. So that is functionality which is interdependent to each other. And if there is some functionality which is dependent to each other, then we need to integrate that functionality on going process, so that we can integrate and test that. That DevOps can help us to do that continuous integration. Okay, a software can go into the release and perform more test, more features we used to do with continuous delivery, so that it can go on a release on time. We can check on our UAT environment, our production environment, that particular code. Then coming to continuous deployment is something like we, again, I'm taking that same example. We have built a login page. Now we have already built a sign up page and integrated that sign up page with login page. Now what we want to test that feature into the production level or test that feature over a live website. What we going to do is continuous deployment, which continuous deployment is something after developing every feature, it will be deployed, and user or the client can see that deployment, or whosoever need to see that. If that deployment take place in a UAT environment, uh, that only a user or those who have having the access, they can see if that is developed in test environment, only the testers can see. If that deployment takes in a production environment, then everyone can see, the users can see, the client can see, everyone that can see. Okay, then the main part why we prefer DevOps is operate is something where we are taking continuous feedbacks, monitor their software, and doing all these changes and planning according to that. Like if a client say that I don't like that UI of that login page, if a client said that I want a Microsoft authentication other than Google authentication in that login page, that feedback we take from the client and then again code and build that part. So that is something, a process, a brief process of DevOps is. So when we talk about SDLC life cycle, software development type cycle, so what we talk that initially we plan a software, we code a software, we build a software, integrate that software, then test that software, release that software, deploy and operate that software. That is how an SDLC life cycle works. When we talk about, so this is something we can say. Any question till now? If anyone have any doubt, they can ask. Okay. Now let's talk about why industry need DevOps. See, we talk about what is DevOps. We talk about why DevOps is started. We talk about what is the work development team do. What is the work operational team do. We talk about how industries adapting DevOps, or what is the impact which DevOps culture put into the industry. Let's talk about why industry need DevOps. Yeah, because of continuous delivery of software. Yeah, see, it's a very crucial part when we talk about continuous delivery of software with better collaboration between uh, operational team and development team. I already talked in this slide that DevOps helps us to remove the wall of conflicts, a wall of confusion. Uh, Easy deployment, exactly, because every time you are doing the continuous deployment, there are no manual intervention, less manual interventions are there, no human interventions are there, everything is automated already, which helps you again to do the deployment in an easy manner. Better efficiency and scalability. Let's talk about efficiency and scalability in a brief. When we talk about scalability means to scale your software from one server to 10 server in a minute, okay, or in a second. That what I understand from this scalability and efficiency is means when we are scaling that software, or when we are scaling that server, it is scale efficiently. It means what, if you are scaling, there is no server error, or there is no server down. The process need to very smooth and very simple, so that the see why we scale a server, or why we uh, you know just give me a minute. Okay, let's talk about why we scale a server. When we talk about if you ever heard about Hotstar, if you ever heard about Netflix, I hope you watch Netflix. So when we talk about Netflix, so suppose today Netflix is having 1,000 users with them. Hypothetically, Netflix is having 1,000 users with them. Tomorrow we release a movie of an famous actor, or okay, of a famous actor, and now Netflix is having 10,000 users watching that movie simultaneously. What will happen is we need 10x server capability for that time, and there are two options: either we buy a server for 10,000 people, for a long term, or we rent, or we take a server for that, you know, for that instance when the 10,000 users are coming. Like if 9,000 users are coming, we are taking or scaling the server for only for 9,000. If 8,000 are coming, we are scaling for 8,000. If 10,000 are coming, we are scaling for 10,000. If 20,000 are coming, we are scaling for 20,000. That power DevOps gives us. There's a tool which is known as Kubernetes, a very famous tool which is built by Google and donated to CNCF. Uh, we generally in DevOps we use a microservice architecture, um, which again built on the top of Docker. When we talk about microservice architecture, we use Docker to build that environment. Okay, when we are using Docker, so we generally manage that container or when that part with Kubernetes. So in a very layman language, if you want to scale any software on a server, you containerize that software, or you put that software into a container which is a Docker container, and you are managing that container with Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is something which is making same container, which is replicating same container, the which is replicating that same container or a same server according to the need. If 10,000 users are there, so it is replicating according to 10,000 users. If 20 are there, it is replicating according to 20,000 users. That is the main, funda of DevOps. Is it helps us for better efficiency and scalability. Also, error of fix in the initial stage. When you talk about this line, initial stage, it means, let's talk about if we are doing our second sprint. We are developing again a sign up page on our second sprint. We already developed that sign up page. Now all the errors which we have in the sign up page, we uh, solve that in that sprint only. We don't take it, that error till the last, so that the software is completed in 6 months and we have taken that, put that effort, put that error in the last and solving that time. No, we initially solve that error when we are building that. So every sprints have the testing, rigorous testing, and all these things over there, client feedback, and all these things which I have shown in my previous slide. That if you are planning a single sprint, it consists of test, build, it consists of penetration testing, unit testing, load testing, black box testing, and so on. Uh, and and so on. It takes the client feedback, we monitor, and again, if you need any help, any changes, feedbacks, so we change accordingly. So that is something DevOps gives us. DevOps help us to fix an error in an initial stage. It is more secure. Yeah, DevOps is more secure. We talk about DevOps, so DevOps also, see, when we if we inculcate security domain into DevOps, so we work as a DevSecOps engineer. If we inculcate ML with DevOps, so we are a ML ops engineer. If we inculcate cloud with DevOps, so we are a cloud ops engineer. That are three major terms. We can introduce, integrate any domain with DevOps, and uh, you know can build on it. Again, more security. Why more security is there? Because these tools are very efficient. Not only efficient, but less manual intervention is there. Okay, that is why they are more secure. Last point is less manual intervention. Yeah, because all the processes are already automated. All the tools know what they need to do and how they will triggered when they are used. So less manual interventions are there and they can use easily. So this is a very famous diagram of DevOps, and infinite cycle SDLC cycle, which means uh, how we are using, how we are building our CI/CD pipeline. That is something which is represented by this uh, infinite diagram. So let's talk about this diagram in a brief. First is planning stage. Second is build. between planning and building, we code that part. Third is continuous integration. Continuous integration. After continuous integration, we have deployment. We operate that software, then continuous feedback. Again, the same cycle which we have shown in this figure. Okay, which we have seen in this figure. Uh, Same cycle. It's a real time communication which taken place. If you are planning a software at 7 o'clock, everyone can see, or everyone, it's a real time process which taken place. So when we talk about planning stage, the planning stage generally covers software like Slack, Office, um, Jira, where we plan our software, what we need to do, what functionality we need to use. Okay, what all teams we need to indulge in this. Okay, what all sort of things we need to do. Then when we talk about build, we build on the top of GitHub repositories and all. We build on the top of we build a software with a tool. If you heard about that, Maven. Okay, we code, we save our code on a or we source code that on what. If you talk about, if you heard version control system, there are two terms: version control system and source code management. Tool version control system, which is help us to manage the version of our software, or a tool which is a Git. Again, a source code control system which manage our source code like GitHub, uh, and that Azure repos. If we talk about the Azure repos and GitHub are two same tools we talk about. So we save our code, put our code in a GitHub repo. Okay, after putting that code, we build our code with Maven. Maven is a tool which helps you to build the code for doing the continuous integration, so that it is integrated with Docker in an upcoming deployed state. It can easily scale with Kubernetes or deploy over a cloud. That is and that help we got from Jenkins. Continuous integration can be done from Jenkins or Selenium. If you talk about a tool like JUnit, JUnit is something. JUnit helps us to test that software. Selenium is something which is used to automate several web related tasks. Jenkins is something which is used to integrate two or three different tools at a same place. We deploy that software. We make a container with the help of Docker. We use Kubernetes to manage the Docker container. We use different cloud services to uh, deploy over it. Okay, in between we also use tool like Ansible, Puppet, Chef to configure our software, to to provision our resources. Then we use a tool like Jira to operate our software, so that we can track every second, every bit of our software, what exactly we are doing, what exactly the feedback we are getting. We monitor that software to like prompt us, help us to monitoring and giving feedback, prompt us in Grafana. So continuous feedback we take. Okay, so that is something, a complete loop we are closing. Okay, we plan, we build, we continuously integrate, we deploy, we operate, we taking continuous feedback. Again, after taking that feedback, we work on that feedback, plan, build. If that we got a feedback that everything is okay, we work on a second spread. Again, we plan, build, continuous integrate, deploy, operate, feedback. Again, a same loop completed and running this. The software is not built by us. Okay, so there are following DevOps myth which you think whenever you work with DevOps. First is DevOps is a tool. No, DevOps is not a tool. It's not a technology. It's a domain. It's a mythology. It's a culture which industry adopts uh, to do faster and efficient delivery of their software. DevOps means CI/CD. We talk a bit about CI/CD. That what CI/CD is: continuous integration and continuous deployment or delivery. No, CI/CD is a part of DevOps. DevOps is not completely a CI/CD. DevOps can solve all the problems. No, again, DevOps can't solve all the problems of an of an engineer or software development, but it can help you to uh, make efficient your software development easy and efficient. DevOps is only for web. No, if you are building a, a mobile app, web app, or a desktop application, you can apply DevOps anywhere in any type of application. You can apply DevOps. DevOps is for development and operation team. 90% it is right, but when we talk about DevOps is not only for developers and operations team. It is also for QA team. It is also for the ML team. It is also for the data analytics team. It is also for the security team. So DevOps is for everyone. DevOps is cloud based. No, we deploy our software over the cloud, that we can understand, but no, we generally do all our things, all implying the culture. uh, we can apply the culture without using cloud as well. Though DevOps is something different and cloud is something different. Cloud is when we use storage, when we use storage of a particular company like Azure, we use storage, virtual machine, and these environment. And using this environment and deploying that part, that is something cloud can help us to do. Okay, deploying or using that environment of each. So that is all for this session. I keep this session very small because I think that you understand all these terms easily. You can understand this term easily. If you have any doubt, you can ask me right away. Any doubt, guys? Okay, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me. This is my. You can connect with me over LinkedIn. You can, if you have any doubt regarding DevOps, you can ask me anytime. I'm happy to answer. Okay. Thank you very much for being here and being such a awesome, lovely audience. Uh, Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you.